Welcome back, everyone, to Star Trek Online. I'm your host, the Housecoat Gamer. And today is less of a wish list for STO and more wish list for mods and stuff in general. Now, I know what many of you may be thinking. Why make a wish list for mods? STO is just fine, isn't it? Well, it is for now. I just want to stress that for now. While STO is going strong, the same was once said about World of Warcraft, and yet World of Warcraft is gone. So, I suppose it has to be brought up. What happens when all the models of STO, when STO shuts down, what happens to all the ships? What happens to all the unique things? The materials? They're just going to get lost in the ether, yes? Now, I don't want to sound all doom and gloom for no reason. After all, eventually, somebody might stumble upon screenshots or even my own vids showcasing some of these ships and go, I think I might model these. Port them over to other games. There's just one problem. It might be too late in some case. And that might come years down the line, and that's not a good thing. So, there's a reason I'm showcasing all the T6 stuff. Because this is a general call to arms for modders out there, and for anyone who's modeling, to, bring these ships into existence. Now, I know that's already been done with a few ships, especially for Bridge Commander, but, you can understand my concern, perhaps. Because, STO is not going to be around forever. But, if we can port over all their ships and all that stuff, it won't be gone forever. It will be preserved in some way or fashion. Now, some things don't really deserve to be preserved, like this. The Venture. I hate the Venture. Now, Monarch. Sorry. But you get the general idea. Some things are just too wonky to be preserved, though they could be kept around as a showcase of what not to do. And some are just too weird to not preserve. Like the Delcaura. At least I presume that's how I'm pronouncing it. Or this. Or any of the pilot ships. Or a ship that could have been the Enterprise F. Now, I'm aware that the Odyssey class model has already been ported over to Bridge Commander, but that's not the point. The point is model preservation and enjoyment. Maybe someone wants to play STO, but he can't afford getting some of these fancy boats. So what do? What do? You recreate the models, maybe make them a little higher fidelity, change the colors a little bit, so they don't look, like utter crap. I mean, let's compare the Moga guy, proper name Nerexian, to the Morrigu. That is not pretty. I get it. STO has to do the whole memory preservation thing, save resources and all that. But you get the general idea. The Resolute. You can save this too. You can save all of these ships. Bring them from STO into other games. I'm not saying it will be an easy undertaking. I mean, there are over 800 models in STO. But it could be done. And I hope one day it is done. Because eventually STO will fade away. It will shut down. But the ships, the equipment, everything seen here does not have to go away. It can be preserved. As an example, there's a reason I keep saying bring all the SFC2 boats over to STO. It's a way to get them modernized. A way to show them to a new audience. Maybe inspire the publishers of those old games to put them up on GOG or something like that. And maybe that will inspire modders to create these models. Okay, to be fair, the Archon really needs help. But you get the general idea. Just inspire the modding community, the modeling community. Bring these ships out of STO and put them into the wild, so modders can have fun with them. I know one group is already having a fun time with that. The people in charge of the Stellaris mod New Civilizations. I mean, I've lost count of the number of ships they've got. Some of which are even from STO. But that's not enough. And I'm pretty sure none of those models are available for use by modders. I would love to see these things used by, I'd love to play with these things in, say, Empire at War. I'd love to see them in Home Track. I'd love to see them in anything that could be modded. Put them in Star Trek Starfleet Command 3. A full-on STO campaign mode with STO ships. Rewrite the campaign to include the whole Iconian War thing, and beyond. I'm not saying it wouldn't be difficult. But it is more than possible. Because I've seen it done. And, again, this isn't just for me, it's for millions of people out there who probably can't play STO. Maybe it's because their internet connection sucks. This isn't me being offensive, it's just the truth. But maybe they love Bridge Commander. Maybe they play the crap out of Bridge Commander. Import all the ships. I mean, I've seen some pretty inventive things. Like a recent Bridge Commander mod bringing out the World Razor. Apparently that was just ripped straight from STO. At least to the best of my knowledge. Either somebody spent a lot of time actually modeling that thing, or they just ripped it straight from STO. Doesn't matter. Just bring them all in. Even the Ross. I hate this thing, I really do. she's a cannon boat. Though you could also use this as an excuse to show the ship off and go, this is how not to make a sovereign galaxy. Because, just look at that deflector dish. And here's another example of first draft probably isn't the best. Still, preserve it, just to go, hi, this is what the Enterprise F could have been, though we're kinda thankful it wasn't. Which also brings to mind the Odyssey model for Bridge Commander. It's out of date, buddy. You're gonna have to do some work on it. Not being offensive, just stating a fact. And then there's the nose art stuff. Sure, there's a lot of nose art for the Defiant, but you get the general idea. Stuff like this should be preserved. Oh god. Yeah, even this. I just hate the crossfield. The Glen is tolerable. Just all this stuff should be brought in. A proper mirror galaxy. The Cetacean, Aspero, and Atrox. All of these ships. Every single one. Should have a place in modding history. I'd love to play with the Cygnus in Bridge Commander, a galaxy battle cruiser that's even tougher than the original. Or God's own anti-son-of-a-bitch machine that is a Lexington class. Or maybe the stealthy Super Vesta, the Kalian. Or even the ships that I've grown to kinda love. The original Tier 5 cruiser, escort, and science ship. I'd love to know what these things would be capable of in games like Bridge Commander. Or Starfleet Command 3. How would you stat them? How would you make them different? I'd love to know. I'd love to see how these things operate outside of, well, an MMORPG that, well, kind of breaks the rules a little bit. But that applies to pretty much everything in STO. I believe in preserving this stuff. Not just for the historical record, but because I want to play with it when STO finally decides to shut its servers down forever. Because, as depressing as it is, that day is coming. It might not be here for another 10 to 20 years. But it is coming. And when that day comes, all of these ships, all of these models, they will be lost forever. And that is a tragedy. A tragedy that would be that is rivaled by the fact that I don't know what all the Star Trek the Starfleet battles boats look like. I've played Orion Pirates Plus, but I've never seen the actual physical models. They just don't exist. And that is a shame. I cannot fall in love with them, or marvel at how odd they are if I don't know what they look like. The same applies to everything from that game. applies to everything, really. Hopefully, we get to see them. And hopefully we'll all get to marvel at them. And play with them. Because really, this isn't going to be around forever. But once the models are out there, once they're free for everyone to play with, then they're preserved forever. And that's a good thing. Housecoat Gaming, signing off.